one perk of living in Tennessee, we can boat to international waters just a mile from our house. One major downfall is we get more rainfall per year than Seattle, Washington. This not only makes my own projects difficult, but it can also make my work difficult as well. That's what we gotta do. We gotta work on boats to work on boats. I want to say thanks to everybody who made the last video best viewed in the series. Keep watching, it's about to get epic. But the only thing that's epic right now is all this rain. However, the fiberglass work is getting ready to be a little more intense. Not quite like the side of the boat, but we're going to start something I've been wanting to start for quite some time. Do you remember the swim platform Alex and I stole off the sunken boat? I have been dying to start the fitment process. Remember that totally awesome swim platform we stole off that main ship Mediterranean that was sunk out on the lake? It is time to see if we can fit it to the Silverton. But since it's raining, we're gonna go hop over into the bilge. I already did all the sanding needed for us to paint. I also went ahead and got all the through-hole drain holes drilled. I'm getting ready to do something absolutely crazy. I need to get the rest of this Blackwater plumbing out of here. I have no idea if that tank is empty, but we're just gonna cut the hose and hope for the best. Let's cut this one first. So far, so good. Ah, here goes nothing. Okay, it is not empty. Oh, man. Throw her overboard. After dealing with someone else's pee water, we gave the bilge a thorough scrub down, mostly to further prep for painting. Alright, that is much more clean. That's really only the first phase of cleaning. Tomorrow I'm gonna shop vac all the water out of there, and then we're just gonna have to wipe everything down with acetone, get it clean, so we can actually paint it and make it look brand new. I don't know what level of messed up this is, the fact that we're bailing water already on the boat. So my wife Tangela decided to get the bilge ready for paint. This was a big help.
This is not fun.
By the way, her name is Tangela. It's like Angela with a T in front of it. The one thing we decided it's a good idea is go ahead and get these motor mounts, the rest of them taken off. For one, they're just flaking rust everywhere. I think I'm gonna reinforce the front one, and they just need to be painted. The more we take stuff apart, the more I realize it's a good idea we're taking it apart. This motor mount, see that bolt? It's completely gone. It's rusted. Like somebody blew it off with a torch. All right, I've decided it's probably a good idea just go ahead and take the entire through hole out. As she said, it's never a bad idea to reseal something given the opportunity. So the through holes aren't too bad. This one here is missing a part of its grate. I'm gonna see how much these things cost, and I may end up replacing them if they're not too bad. But if they're like incredibly expensive, I guess I can reuse them. All right, well, she's working on the bilge. I'm gonna go ahead and fill you in on what we're gonna do to paint it. Actually, we're not going to paint it per se. I have a whole lot of leftover gel coat from jobs, either where there were colors that ended up dirty and had to discard it, or leftover, anything like that. So since I have all this, I'm gonna recycle it and put it to use. I know painting would be a much easier thing to do, and that's probably what I would recommend to do, is actually paint the build. Since I have this stuff left over and it's here and it's free, instead of throwing it in the trash, let's repurpose it. So I have a whole bunch of like white variances. I'm just gonna put it all in this 1 gallon pail, and then I'm just gonna mix some black in with it and hopefully get a close enough gray to what that original bilge color looks like. All right, here's the thing about using gel coat instead of using paint. For those who are not familiar with gel coat, you put the hardener in this stuff, you got probably 10-15 minutes, and then you're done. Like, it will just turn to a hard substance. So we have to do it little by little. We can't just mix it all up and then have all day to roll it on. It does not work that way. So I have no idea how this is going to turn out. All right, so here we go. Got one half of the bilge painted. That was the half that we repaired the stringer in. I'm pretty darn satisfied with it. The color actually matched pretty darn good. I got a few little details I need to work out before we paint the other side of it. Now she's gonna take care of the other side, so we can move to something else. Now, I promise you, epic. It is time to explain exactly how are we gonna do this. If you don't already know, the curvature of this swim platform does not match the curvature of the transom on the Silverton. As you can see, what I've already done here is scribed a line on the swim platform using the old swim platform and a piece of cardboard as a template. This line represents the curvature on the back of the Silverton. We are most likely just gonna cut this thing off along this line. Now there's 3 angles we have to keep in mind. One is the curvature this way, one is the curvature this way, and then this the tilt of the platform itself. This is polyvinyl alcohol, also known as PVA. It is a chemical used for mold releasing. What you do is you spray this stuff inside or on a mold, laminate whatever you need to laminate, and then it will release off the mold. What we are going to do is spray this PVA on the whole back side of the Silverton. Then we can layer several layers of fiberglass over top of the transom. And when it cures, we can peel it off and we will have a molded sheet. Then we can take this molded sheet and transfer it to the front side of this swim platform. But hold on, it's not quite that simple. We have 2 more angles we have to think about. One is the pitch. How am I going to do that? I'm going to take the fiberglass, I'm going to overlay it up into this part. I'm going to get some straight pieces of wood and mold the wood into this upper flat part. The part sticking out here, we can transfer this and lay it onto the new swim platform. I'll probably have 2 or 3 pieces going down. The other angle we have to keep in mind is the bridge of how curved the platform is. I've noticed the one that we have is pretty flat. The back of the Silverton is rather curved. I'll have to cross that bridge once we get this piece molded and transfer it to the new piece. I'm really hoping I can manipulate it and kind of bend it a little bit. It does seem a little bit flimsy. If not, we'll have to cut some notches in the sideways supports just to kind of curve it down. So enough talk. Let's get started on this project. So, unfortunately, again, like the stringer that we repaired in this boat, it's going to take a good bit of prep work of just cutting out the glass mat. All right, there's gonna be 7 layers. So that's gonna be pretty darn thick. And we're probably gonna add to that on top of it. But it needs to be thick enough because we're gonna put a 300 or 400 pound dinghy on that swim platform as well, so. I'm really not 100% sure on how many coats or how thick you're supposed to put this stuff on. I did run it in a spot, but I don't think it's gonna matter for what I do. I am absolutely terrified that this is not gonna work. All right, so we're gonna have to continue this tomorrow. It's already really late in the evening. It's gonna take forever for that stuff to dry. So maybe tomorrow morning, I try to roll some fiberglass on there. All right, so we are gonna start laminating. Again, I'm gonna use some polyurethane based resin. I'm using that stuff for multiple reasons. I probably explained a lot of it. If you go back and watch the video when we redid the stringer in this boat, But number one, the boat is a polyester resin based boat to begin with. Number two, I already have a 5-gallon bucket of it. 3, gel coat sticks to it the best. But really, number 4, the part I like the best about the poly resin, especially in this application, is it's a lot more flexible. So normally in the boat world, you'd be using either the poly based resin or the epoxy. They also have vinyl ester, which is, from what I understand, a poly base stuff anyway. It's just a very waterproof version of it, but that stuff is also really expensive. But I like the fact that this stuff is flexible, especially it being on the swim platform. You're going to get a lot of movement on that platform. It's going to be flexing around, people are going to be loading and boarding on it, jumping off of it, playing, putting dinghies on it, whatever. So I'm kind of sold on the flexibility. I got probably about 2.5 layers on there right now, more to come, but it's time to place my sticks. If you still don't quite understand what I'm doing with the sticks, just keep watching, you'll eventually catch on. Now that I got the sticks in place, I have 4 more layers I'm going to put on. Alright, so I am done laminating for now. I probably have around 5 layers, maybe 6. And that is like pushing the limits of how many layers you can probably do doing something of this caliber. To do a truly good job, you would probably want to do some vacuum infusion, because laminating something like this and just rolling it on, wetting it, slapping it on, rolling it out, you're gonna get air voids, stuff like that. And after a few layers, you probably start getting a little bit of distortion on what's going on. I mean, this will work, but anybody who's watching that is a professional fiberglass laminator that makes parts for boats or whatever is probably looking at me like, bro, like seriously. So lesson learned on my part. I think if I'm gonna do anything, another project like this boat, not really if, but when, doing something like the stringer and doing something like this, vacuum infusion is definitely the route to go. Now we just wait for this stuff to kick off and set up, and let's hope this thing just peels right off the back of this boat. All right, she's dry. Let's see if it will release. I'm like super nervous. Like, you have no idea how nervous I am. I kind of tugged on it a little bit and it felt like it might go. I just, you know, like, I just know it's not gonna fully release, and I'm gonna have to fix that transom again. It's going. Another tool or something. All right, here we go. Again. Yeah, buddy. Come on. I know you want to release. Oh, yes. Look at that. I can tell this is not thick enough. It's fine, we can add to it later. Look at that. So I can tell you right now, 5 layers of glass is nowhere near thick enough. We're probably gonna need more like 15. But either way, we got the basic shape and we can start. And I can use the rest of the laminate that needs to be put in, kind of integrate it with the structure. So it seemingly lines up with the line that I've already scribed in it. So I think next step is to go ahead and cut that off. Now, do you see where I'm going with this now? The sticks are to help keep this thing where it needs to be. You can also see that we need to curve this thing up quite a bit. It needs to be humped up this way some more. All right, so I cut some slits in the sideway support and used a ratchet strap and got it to curve up the way it should be. We got a lot of trimming to do on this piece we just molded. We need to cut it off even with this all the way across, obviously, and then eventually cut it off even with this, and cut this top part off. Once it's molded in good enough, we'll cut this part off here that's folded out this way. So most likely what we're gonna do, we're gonna just tab this piece in, trim it up a little bit, and then test its fitment. So listen, I have done a lot of work on this boat this week. I need to get another video out to you guys, so I'm just gonna stop this one right here. You see where we're going with this thing. So I'm gonna leave it for another episode for you to find out if we actually get this thing to fit on this boat. It'd be a lot of work wasted if it didn't. So I'll see you guys next time.